Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Nerd Variety Podcast. I am Josh, and I'm joined today by Hunter, all hands on deck, Rafferty.
Yes, all hands indeed.
All of them, you sure?
Yes, all 27.
Okay, I wasn't expecting all of them. Okay, three would have been enough. And then we're on the right here. We're joined by Hannah.
Tree Hugger Hogan worked before.
No. Hang Ten Hogan. No, that's it. Hannah
Okay.
Hang Ten Hogan over here.
Sure, and here's nickname Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That's simple and fine. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
So we hope everyone's had a safe and fun Halloween. So we're coming into a new month, so new topics. Today we're looking at movie trilogies. Well, trilogies, mainly movie trilogies, also video game trilogies.
Mainly video game trilogies from me.
Yeah. Hunter will be presenting the video game trilogies, and Hannah as well. I know mostly movies.
Maybe she'll probably just sit quietly and. Oh, never mind.
And
Yeah.
tell us
I'm here
when to
for the-
stop talking.
Yeah. She's a good moderator, telling us,
Yeah.
"Hey guys, shut up and let me talk." Well,
So,
telling me to shut up.
No, I was gonna say I'm the pretty one. Just sit here.
Yeah, she's got that covered.
Yeah, she's
I
the.
have a distinct advantage just by being female, though. So
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Josh, did you have something to start us off with this conversation about trilogies?
Well, given that Hollywood and the video game industry, love to pump out their trilogies, I think it's been part of just a kind of a basic storytelling mechanism. Here's our beginning. You like our beginning? Here's our middle. You like our middle? Okay, we have an ending. Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of the thing. It seems like Hollywood, or the film industry, likes money more than trilogies per se. It's like, okay, so we wrapped it up nice. Okay, these made a lot of money. Here's another one, and here's another one, and
Yeah.
Until people stop paying for it, we're gonna keep making them.
Until people tell us to stop, then
Then we're gonna
we'll
keep
stop.
going until we stop making money.
But the story's in kind of a weird, really weird state after that.
Yeah.
So then we get to the question of what's we're talking about trilogies, but a lot of these trilogies end up becoming sagas. Like I remember Transformers was supposed to be a trilogy, but now it's a saga-ish. I'm pretty sure Star Wars started out as the original trilogy.
As a single movie, actually.
Single movie, became a trilogy, and then 19-ish, 20 years later, you got the
Became a
prequel
trilogy of trilogies.
And now it's a saga now, with 9 movies and some solo movies. Yeah.
Did they ever just quick kind of side note on that? Still technically in the idea of trilogies. I know they canceled like the Boba Fett solo movie, and the Obi-Wan thing as well. Are they doing a third for the anthologies to do like an anthology trilogy? Because there was Rogue One, Solo, and then there was going to be another one, but I don't know if they just scrapped that whole idea.
It was supposed to be Boba Fett, but then they canceled it. I think they favored the idea of making the TV shows, and they incorporated like the whole bounty hunter thing into Mandalorian, and then Obi-Wan was announced getting his own TV show.
Yeah, which is why I was thinking the Mandalorian was Boba Fett or Jango Fett, and I don't think I haven't really looked into it too much, but it's not either of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we have a name for the character?
I don't know. I think it takes place after. I think where does it take place at? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either, honestly. Because if it were to follow either of them, then obviously it would have to take place at least before Return of the Jedi. So that's when Boba Fett dies.
Yeah, it's obviously before or somewhere between before New Hope and after Return of the Jedi. I'd put money on that.
Yeah, I would. My guess was between two of the trilogies, obviously, but I kind of got a vibe of like the Solo type setting. So between episodes 3 and 4, probably.
Yeah, seems like that. Those were the gap, the bridge builders between 3 and 4.
Yeah. Could be.
So, is it best to tell a story in threes or in 3 parts, or how do y'all feel about story movies if you can find one that are just 1 or just 2?
I think it depends on the intent. If the intent from the beginning is to make multiple movies or multiple games or whatever, that's one thing. But if you only have one story and then you're like, oh, wait, that was really successful, let's make more, likely to not do well, right? Which you see a lot, I feel like, in, there was, that whole stint in, like, Disney where they were creating all these, like,
Oh, yeah.
There's technically like a Little Mermaid trilogy and a Cinderella trilogy, and it's like,
a lot of those weird ones.
why would you do that?
Yeah.
Right? And it's because, they are beloved characters, but like if there's more to their story, then that's fine. Tell the rest of the story, but like those stories were over.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel that way kind of, well, not so much with the trilogy part, but beyond the trilogy, I kind of felt that way with Toy Story. Like, I think it worked, and even with that, even doing sequels, like the first one I thought was fine on its own.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt it as it went on, like, when, oh God, it's been too long. Andy?
Andy, yes.
Yeah. When, like, he was getting older, obviously, and they definitely made that a part of it, but every movie, it felt like, oh, he's done, and now they have to figure out what they're going to do now that he's moving on. And it's like, no, we're going to pull you back to this.
Especially after the third movie where it's like, he's going off to college and the toys are going to someone else. And then there was another one we were like...
And I still haven't seen that. I mean, I want to. Like, I like the movies.
Like, it was okay. It was okay. Honestly, I feel like Pixar is one of the, might be the exception to the rule, honestly, in my opinion, when it comes to creating sequels and trilogies out of stuff. But I think it's just because they care so much about creating good content.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not just a cash grab. That they've had a couple that have flopped here and there or not been great. But for the most part, we got Finding Dory and Monsters University and stuff like that. That's been really good.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll make a sequel or make a third one for Nemo or Monsters.
Right.
But Incredibles finally got a sequel.
Yeah, we were all excited, and it was great.
Yes.
I think a lot of, like you were saying,
how surprised I was when I saw that announcement for Incredibles 2. I was just like, wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to see.
But that's part of like the care and attention to detail that they put into their movies, and that's really what sets them apart. Because I don't know if any of you guys have seen Cinderella 3, but it's about time travel.
Whoa.
So
right.
yeah, you're like, what are you doing, Disney?
I'm sure there will be a Frozen 3. I'm sure there will be a Frozen 3 as well.
Eventually. Probably.
Yeah, but those do pretty well. I think it's a lot to do with a lot of those Disney movies were based off one single tale, one single original story that had a definitive ending, and they were like, "Oh, this did really well. Let's make more of it." Oh, sequel, third one, TV series, everything you guys want, and then we're like, this stuff, this other stuff. Yeah, we didn't ask for all of this. I mean, it's okay,
And actually, on this specific topic, I don't know. Was there a Lion King 3?
It was Lion King 1.5.
Yeah, which is marketed as 3 for
never seen.
If you get it on DVD,
I've seen.
I know 1 and 2. I know Lion King and Lion King 2. Just cause, and I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like a lot of those sequels and continuations after that were probably straight to like VHS, right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
for good reason.
Yeah, that was a time when that was more of a thing. So I think
And as a
they're
kid,
trying to push that out.
I think as a kid we we didn't really mind, but now looking back, it's like, yeah, I see what what their intentions were.
Mm-hmm.
And soon you can watch all of these terrible trilogies, terrible sequels on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Only
I
on
don't actually
Disney
know.
Plus.
I
Not
think
sponsored by Disney Plus.
But that would be
DreamWorks.
wonderful if we were.
That would be wonderful.
DreamWorks has been a little bit hit or miss, I think, in terms of sequels and trilogies.
They have.
The How to Train Your Dragon stuff has all been pretty good.
I still haven't seen the
Okay.
third one, but I do like the first two.
It was decent.
The third one was good, Hannah.
Yeah,
They also
Okay.
did make a TV show on that, though, didn't they?
they did. I haven't watched
some
that.
Netflix stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems fun, not
Shrek
like,
is kind of weird when it comes to sequels.
yeah. Shrek turned into a saga.
I don't
pretty
even remember
quickly.
how many they did. I know they at least did 3. I'm pretty sure they did more than 3 though.
Shrek? They did like
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I was thinking that. And they're rebooting it too, aren't they? They're like
I don't
rebooting
know.
it or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My husband just texted me from the other room and said DreamWorks also did Kung Fu Panda.
That's true.
And those have all been
1, 2,
pretty
3.
good.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen the third one. I just keep
They're
missing
good.
the third ones of all of these.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Is there a fourth one?
No, it's just I don't
Okay.
think so.
I hope they just stop, because
Yeah.
it's kind of how far along, how many years do you keep like dragging out movies for?
Well,
Well,
Can you just have 3 movies? I mean, yeah, it takes a while to make these movies, but can you just have 3 movies and then just say, okay, that's it?
So I did want to have sort of a like psychological chicken and egg conversation. Like, do we like trilogies because trilogies are popular, and so that's why we're like, just leave it at 3? Or is there like something about like a set of 3 that is just compelling, and that's
So-
why trilogies
Yeah.
became a thing in the first place?
what I was actually going to say a little earlier is I think trilogies feel very natural because it's a pretty standard 3-act structure.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, each act has to be big enough and be good enough. It has to be a good enough story to tell on its own merit to warrant, a full movie as part of a trilogy. Like, and honestly, moving slightly away from trilogies and into a little more series, that's my problem right now with Fantastic Beasts, the Fantastic Beasts series.
Yeah,
The first one, like, it set it up, even though the world was already established. It set up this new era and these new characters and everything. But it was a lot of exposition. The second one really didn't do much to move it forward, and I don't think they're going to be good standalone movies, because there's just too much exposition and setting up for future events. So
Yeah, but then how do you feel about all the Avengers stuff?
I think for the most part they're each really good on their own.
they work well.
They
Not
are,
all
but I
of them,
feel
but-
like I don't know, we're likely all so familiar with the story that it's hard to separate them. Like, imagine if you had no idea what they were about and just watched Endgame without
Well,
any context.
I'm sure
like,
a lot of confused parents did just watch Endgame because their kids were like, I gotta see Endgame.
Hmm.
What's it? Thanos? What's it? You mean Thermos? Thanos? What?
I will say there are a couple that are, especially Infinity War and Endgame, are not necessarily meant to be viewed on their own. That said, I think they're still good movies, and there's stuff that happens and builds up, and there's enough in there to warrant them being their own movies.
Mm-hmm.
I would generally
even
tend to agree.
I would even say you might not understand everything going on, but at the very least, those do work as 2 movies back to back.
Because they were originally marketed as part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
But then they decided to make them separate movies. which it still works. You could probably watch. They probably watch them both if you like. I plan to watch them both whenever I decide to watch them again.
Yeah.
But then you have Avengers 1 and Avengers 2, and then you look at the major characters. They all have their own trilogies, except now Thor is getting his own. I guess is getting more movies, but that could be kind of a push to introduce more characters and more stuff into the MCU for Phase 4.
But that is actually a good point. I actually didn't even think about that. They do each have their own trilogies,
except Hulk.
Well, we don't care about him.
Well, he kind of.
Well, I mean, because if you want to include Hulk in that, then I would also say you would need to consider that Black Widow and Hawkeye don't have their own movies because then that would be talking about the original team, even though Hulk had one movie, but not following.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of he's more of a he's a major character, but he's not able to have the prominence because of the whole Universal stuff.
Yeah,
but they do give him an arc to work with.
Yeah.
Another example I was thinking of a series that I think most people wish had stayed at one movie was The Matrix.
I mean, there were things I liked about the sequels. I didn't think they were as bad as a lot of people make them out to be.
But they're not good.
But I was a kid, and they were just kind of fun little action movies with what I thought was really great CGI at the time.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I mean, I feel like I watched The Matrix recently and was still like, for 2000 when it came out.
The first Matrix still holds up pretty well with the CGI. The second and third ones, I thought they were great at the time when I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at them ever since then, they are terrible with CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
And just in general,
that's just kind of like early 2000s CGI. It was bad. Like,
and just in general, in terms of storytelling, I feel like the story should have been over after the first one.
I mean, it could have been. But like again, that can happen with a lot of trilogies.
But then they get some of the studios get the stress of like, oh, we have to tell it in threes, which the movies did a good job of just saying one and two, even though two was really long. I would have been fine with the Hobbit movies being just two movies because it's one book and there's a lot of stuff that happens. But if you could try to make them both long enough and cut out the filler stuff that they added, it will be fine. It'll work pretty well as just two movies.
I think it would have worked fine as one movie.
A little bit.
It was one book, and there was the animated movie of The Hobbit. that I liked.
Old school.
Yeah.
So I want to know. Yep, go.
I had a quick question. Why does the third one always suck?
Is it the third one that always sucks?
The third one is usually the one that sucks.
Usually, I definitely can think of exceptions. Like for the Star Wars prequel trilogy, I always think the second one is the worst. And God, I've had to watch that so many times when I was like when I was in youth group and we had like lock-ins, and that was like the only movie we ever watched. And I was like, why?
Okay, wait. When you say prequel, terrible. What are you referring to?
The prequel trilogy in Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
So Phantom Menace,
okay.
Attack of the Clones, and
gotcha.
Revenge of the Sith.
Because now we also have we've got like Rogue One and Solo, and I'm like, is there a third one of them? Is that a trilogy now?
Those
just
also
anthology because they don't have a...
Yeah, those are the anthology.
Right, like are those the prequel trilogy?
Because those aren't part of the Skywalker saga, so those are the anthology.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You could also, I guess, call it the Anakin trilogy if you wanted to, but I've never heard it called that. That's just the name that I...
No, just call it the prequel.
Like, if
trilogy.
you wanted to give it... Yeah, if you wanted to give it names, you could base it on who was the main character. So then that would put the Anakin trilogy, the Luke trilogy, and then the Rey trilogy. Even though, honestly, I kept thinking I want Finn to be the main character instead of Rey. I don't like Rey.
Yeah. In
But-
terms of the third movie being the worst, I want to know your opinions on the Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises movies.
Yeah, Josh.
No, that I would say I was gonna
I would
talk
say the
about that.
first
I was
one's
gonna
the
talk about that a
weakest.
little later, but I think the third one is they alter the story a little bit because I think the writers wanted to base it off a comic idea, and it was just a kind of a weird.
Kind of.
It was kind of weird that they decided to make it 8 years in the future. Um,
It
so
was.
it was definitely some weird stuff about the third one, but I think it still kind of
Yeah.
supports the themes of the first and second.
Is The Dark Knight generally regarded to be the best of the three?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's almost entirely due to Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah, they play off
Yeah.
very well with each other.
But
Well,
I mean,
and-
it's a good film just in itself, you know.
Yeah. But let
Has-
our message go out to DC. We know how Batman became Batman. You don't have to tell us again. Right? I think we're also just tired of Batman origin stories.
I think we mentioned just you want to just show the gun and play like a sad note like in the Batcave. That will be
Yeah.
fine.
Like,
Just
But
keep
like,
it short. Let's keep the story moving.
there
What
was
are the names? Martha and Thomas Wayne? Like, yep, we know.
Yeah.
Show a picture, and the gun.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do,
Yeah.
or a gunshot. That's all. That's all
you
we
don't
want.
even need to do that. There's I don't think it was in a live action film, but there was one of the animated films I think where you just see like the gun in a display case in the Batcave.
Yeah.
And like that's
Mhm.
enough.
Yep.
That's
Or a
fine.
family portrait, or
I don't think
That's
you
all.
even need a family portrait or anything. Just gun. It's a little
Just
nod. It's like, yeah, we know we could do this, but we're not
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah,
A little
there you go.
moment. That's all. Just a little moment. Not a sequence. Not 4 or 5 flashbacks.
Though I
Um,
will say real quick that the one time recently that I was okay with them rehashing that was in Joker.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know about
It
that one. That was a
had-
weird one.
Just because it lent more because it was in service of Joker's story, not Batman's story.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Don't spoil anything for me.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm looking
So
at
at the end of the
three.
movie-
I'm looking at 3
No.
bad as far as an example of 3 bad endings to a trilogy. The Blade trilogy, the third Trinity sucked, in my opinion. Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man
Oh yeah,
trilogy.
the original Spider-Man. Yeah.
Terminator. Terminator worked as would have worked as 3 movies. I think they had the big time gap to work with, and they decided to make it more comedy. And it did end the trilogy, but it was still just poor quality.
So do we want to
Heck,
count?
What about
Do we want to say it's a new Terminator trilogy now with Dark Fate being the last one?
I don't know what I think they just scrapped everything, so it will be a new trilogy based off how this one fits into the timeline. Because I think they just threw out all the other stuff.
So it's interesting that you say just like that the third one's always the worst, because I've always read it as they just progressively get worse. Right, the
I don't know.
first one, especially if
No,
they
no.
fit into that category of like we're just trying to do this to get money.
I think a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times the second one can be the best.
I feel like
Yes.
either they have like
Except
a
for
really
the
great
prequels.
idea and it does well and they create more content and the rest of it sucks, or they have like some ideas and by the second one they're like kind of getting into the swing of things,
Mhm.
right? But like
Mm.
for me, like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the first one like might be like one of the few movies on my list of like I would consider it a masterpiece. Like it's
Oh.
so good,
Yeah,
right?
So,
But the rest of them were just kind of like
yeah.
like they're
I
fine,
haven't
but
watched them in so long. I
they don't live up.
remember the second
Yeah.
and third ones being good, but again, I haven't even seen any after the third,
Yeah.
and I don't even really remember any of them.
Yeah.
I get
It's kind of a poor trilogy because the second and third one were mainly like it could have been one big movie, but they ended up and they called it a trilogy. I guess you could call it the Will and Elizabeth trilogy if you wanted to. But the first one could stand on its own if they want to just make one good movie and leave it at that. But
Yeah.
they wanted that Pirates money.
I have nothing
And,
against them, but I generally refer to movies in 2 categories, which are like movies that I enjoy, which are either like good movies or fun movies.
Yeah.
And I think they're fun movies.
Yeah,
but I
they're
think
fun.
the first Pirates of the Caribbean was a good movie.
Oh yeah, I was like, I think I was in 6th grade when I watched that. My mind was blown.
But it's like, imagine trying to create a sequel for The Princess Bride. Like,
shut it down.
You just couldn't.
Shut it down.
You just couldn't, right?
That upsets me because of the fact that they're trying to reboot that.
They were, but they shut that down. They shut it down.
Oh,
it's not happening. They're like, no, you can't.
It's like,
do this.
It's perfect. Leave it.
Keep your hands off of it.
I feel the same way about Pirates of the Caribbean. Should have just been one. It was great.
Well, it looks like they're going to be making another trilogy or rebooting that soon. So we'll see how that works. But going back to I'm not sure of the details, but we can talk about that another time. Reboots, we talked about reboots already. But looking at the trilogies that I mentioned, as far as having a bad third one, the first and second one are really good. Blade 1's good. Blade 2 is really good. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Terminator 1 and 2 are really good. And then I guess they get so much pressure for B to make it a trilogy and to end it that they just do a lot of stupid stuff. And it ends up being like,
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all.
I don't really remember. I don't even remember if I've seen all of the Blade movies. I've seen at least the first one, but it's been so long. I don't remember.
Yeah. Go back and I would recommend watching the two of them. If you just want to watch two of them, don't watch the third one unless you just want to have a laugh. And
I've wanted to rewatch them ever since a few years ago. Quite a few years ago when they brought it up in a Community episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Britta's boyfriend's like, Blade. And they keep seeing Blade. It's like, you want to watch Blade tonight? Yes.
How do you feel about video game? I'm thinking of some video game trilogies.
I definitely know some video game trilogies.
I know Mass Effect.
Let me tell you.
I know Mass Effect 3 had a very controversial ending to it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, were there any other bad third ones for video game trilogies that you can think of?
I just think a lot of times, and this isn't exclusive to games, but in a lot of trilogies especially, people have a difficult time knowing how to end it. And I think that was definitely a problem with Mass Effect 3. I've heard other complaints about just the whole game in general, just problems with that. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good, but I'm kind of easy to please. I thought it was good. Obviously, the second one, that's another example of, I think the second one is the best and tends to be regarded as the best. But yeah, the ending was a little tough. I'm trying to think. I guess it's considered a trilogy, or it could be. The Fear games had a trilogy. There was Fear 2, which was Project Origin, and then Fear 3. I haven't played all the way. I haven't quite finished the first one, and I haven't played I haven't played all of the second one. I played less of the second one, but yeah. I mean, those are good. They're kind of like Dead Space, where they've gotten a little more progressively more actiony than like story and horror.
Yeah.
But, and of course, I even mentioned earlier when I brought up my wallpaper, my background. There is, in the Assassin's Creed series, there's the Ezio trilogy, which is the only section of that franchise that has the same main character for 3 games in a row. That continues even after one game, and I think it just, that's why he tends to be regarded as the best character. I think just because they gave us so much time to learn about him and to really feel connected to who that character was, and we kind of watched him literally as a baby, and then grow up until, if you watched in the animated movie at the end, then until his death. But
yeah, I want to know if you consider Borderlands to be a trilogy.
I guess now it is, but I think there's going to be a fourth.
But it already kind of was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the pre-sequel.
Right. No, like if you would consider it connected in any of that sense, there's just the most you have is the Handsome collection. So it's the 2 games, the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, that tell Handsome Jack's story. Also, another great trilogy. I know you asked about bad trilogies, but great trilogy that I thought ended really well was The Witcher, which they're also bringing to Netflix soon, and I have no idea how I feel about that. I'm excited, but at the same time, really worried and concerned.
Do you think they'll? It's going to be a TV series, right?
Yeah, with Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill,
which is going to be
he has the
weird to me.
It seems like Netflix has the bank to make it look like that universe, and Henry can pull off the look. It seems like he pulls off the look. I don't know how y'all feel.
He doesn't look or sound like Geralt to me, and I know. I mean, I'm obviously because in the video game they can make him look like he does on the covers of the books, and like they want him to. And there's a voice actor that can voice him. I don't know what the voice actor looks like. You could just make it match the person, but
yeah.
All this goes into why I am very, very nervous, excited for live action Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Dun, dun, dun.
It could be so good, but it could be so bad.
It was so bad,
and not so much bad.
Well,
but
the movie was bad.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the movie.
No, it doesn't exist. I was confused for a second because I was like, what on earth could we be talking about? There's only good Avatar: Last Airbender stuff out there.
Also,
I can only think of a bad dream where someone would abuse that.
Also, kind of like the Dragon Ball live action stuff, which I've never seen any of the live action.
We don't talk about. We don't talk about bad live action adaptations that never happened.
There were at least 2 of those, right?
Anyway,
Josh, you may know more.
Josh doesn't want to talk about it. Josh doesn't want to talk about it.
Anyway,
I
have a go ahead.
I feel like we have to at some point talk about Lord of the Rings because we haven't really talked about Lord of the Rings.
Meh.
Like the original 3 Lord of the Rings.
I was gonna lead into that. I was gonna ask you guys what are your 3 favorite trilogies? Get 3 favorite trilogies. And I was going to say mine, which are the Dark Knight trilogy. I would say the first 3 Halo games. They tell a really good story. And the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's fair.
Because
Hannah. Oh wait, sorry. I was going to say Hannah will go next.
Just because all the games and the movies work so well as in each part. There's some discrepancies with Dark Knight Rises, and I don't think they were planning to make I don't know if they were planning to make sequels with Halo, and of course Lord of the Rings was written as a trilogy, and Tolkien just did a great job with that.
Well, it was
wasn't Peter Jackson.
Yeah, wasn't it at Halo 4 that 343 Industries first Halo? They took over
there, yeah.
Yeah, so you could call the original Halo trilogy the Bungie Halo trilogy.
The Bungie trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, the Bungie trilogy.
Yeah. What about y'all?
You go, Hannah.
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this.
I wasn't.
Lord of the Rings is definitely at the top. Like when I think of trilogies, that's what I think of, and they're phenomenal.
I can only think of Clerks 2 when I think of Lord of the Rings trilogy. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
No.
The guy just does a little thing of that. I'll tell you later.
I'm trying to think of some other ones, and I'm having a hard time coming up with anything.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is really good. Yeah, specifically 4, 5, and 6.
The original trilogy.
Yeah. But there's a lot of them, like I mentioned, that like I put up with the trilogy because I love one of the movies. So The Matrix, Pirates of the Caribbean. I do love the Dark Knight trilogy. But
so you have your 3 are Lord of the Rings, Dark Knight. Is that?
Yeah, and Star Wars, I guess.
The original Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hunter. You don't have to pick.
Spider-Man has an honorary position.
God. It's
honorable mention.
Yeah, you watched the same movie 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Okay,
I liked the second one. I did.
I'll go.
The second one was good.
That's the first one.
This is a little tough. Cause okay, the only reason I will keep out the sequel trilogy of Star Wars is because it's not quite finished yet. Because we have like a little more than a month until that wraps up. So because I really love The Last Jedi. Force Awakens, meh, is very rehashed. But I would say the original Star Wars trilogy, and then without having more time to think about this, I will also include the Mass Effect trilogy and the Ezio trilogy in Assassin's Creed.
I'm changing my
Assassin's
answer.
Creed, the first three. So that's
Not the first three, but that's
1.
that's Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations.
I'm changing my answer.
That was the
Okay. What?
I am getting rid of
Lord of the Rings.
The Dark Knight. Sorry. And I'm replacing it with Back to the Future.
With what?
Back to the Future.
I still
one.
have never seen Back to the Future 2 or 3.
What?
I know.
You should. It's
another honorable mention is the X-Men movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually. I meant to bring that up earlier. The original trilogy I thought were really good. I also
The Last Stand was.
It carried that. It kind of ended that.
But
The Last Stand kind of had a good ending as far as putting the putting a pin in the Wolverine and Jean relationship.
We also forgot about Indiana Jones.
I like Indiana Jones.
Well,
it's a fun trilogy. It's a fun trilogy.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, they also did make a fourth.
Nope, no, they didn't.
Talk about.
They did not.
Yeah.
We also try not to talk about bad continuations of what should have been just a trilogy.
Yeah. But we brought up Terminator, right?
We try not to.
Anyway, some other honorable mentions I want to shout out are, as I brought up before, there are some music trilogies. The one that had come to my mind originally was the Cure trilogy, which was I don't remember exactly the order. I said this just before we started, and I have it on my phone, but I don't want to scroll that far. Pornography, Bloodflower, and I will have to look at what the second one was. Disintegration, actually. Yeah. There's also David Bowie's The Berlin trilogy, and he had some good connected songs. But yeah, those are just two that I'll bring up.
My honorable mention is the Hunger Games books. Pretty good young adult novels.
That's pretty good. There are some others along those lines, but we need to wrap up.
So, Hannah, what's on the table for next week?
Next week, we are going to be talking about something I'm sure Hunter's going to be very excited about.
Uh-oh.
We're going to talk about the rise of live streaming and YouTube gaming.
Whoa.
What's up with that? That's a weird thing.
What's up with that?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
It's a good topic.
Thank
you millennials with your live streaming and your
I stole it from my
and
sister's boyfriend.
Twitching.
I twitch a lot on accident when I'm having seizures. Anyways,
moving on, wrapping up. Let's go.
I believe you have a condition.
So I do have a condition. That's why I take medication for it. Okay. So thank you guys for talking about trilogies with us. Let us know what you think. Join the discussion. Be part of the discussion somewhere. If not YouTube, social media. If not social media, I don't know where.
Just
maybe
scream it at us.
Yeah, maybe.
You can find it. Come find us where we live and.
Yeah, if you scream into the ether, we'll probably hear about it.
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know if you want. Merchandise or anything special, and we might think of doing a Patreon page.
Yeah.
We need to hear about it from you guys.
Give you guys a variety of nerdy things to choose from. Yeah, that's what we do.
Like Loot Crate, except less exciting. Well, although maybe more exciting. They just did a whole overhaul. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway, but that concludes another episode of Nerd Variety Podcast. And we will see you guys next week.
Toodaloo.
See ya.